Okay, well, welcome everybody. I am here to have a little chat with my mum, Jean Swales, about her memoir writing. Um, Mum is 94, and she doesn't mind me telling people that. And I think I tell people because I'm quite proud of how amazing she is at 94. I just told her she doesn't look a day over 80. She wrote her first memoir when she was in her 70s, her second in her 80s, and she's just completed her third memoir now in her 90s. So, as this newsletter that I'm sending out this week is about memoir writing, I thought how lovely it would be to have a bit of a chat with her. So, welcome, Mum.
Thank you.
So, Mum, do you want to say a little bit about what drew you to writing memoirs? I know the second one had a COVID influence, didn't it? But the first one that you wrote, Blossom and Me, what made you feel like you wanted to write that book?
Well, I had, excuse me, I had read a book called Older Than Time, I think it was called, and it was about an American grandmother who went around the world interviewing pre-selective wise women. And so once I decided to have my camper van called Blossom, I thought, where can I go now? What adventure can I have? And I thought, well, I could go around England looking for interviewing grandmothers and comparing granddaughters' lifestyle. And so that's what I did.
Yes, and so you took this was after Dad died, wasn't it? You bought your little RV, Blossom,
Yeah.
named her Blossom, and you took off and drove around England. And I remember asking you how you were going to find the grandmothers and granddaughters. And do you want to
A very
share?
good question. I used to look at the map and think, where do I want to go? And I chose a town and I looked for the churches in that town and wrote to the vicars and asked the vicars if they knew of anybody who would be willing, a grandmother, to be interviewed. Now, those are the times when confidentiality wasn't as strict as it is now. And so most of them found people for me. But the last one I really wanted on the Isle of Man, um, he refused. And that was when the confidentiality really became important.
Yeah.
Um, and so off I went.
And off you went indeed, traveling around. I remember the first time Mum called me after she bought her RV, promising her daughters that she wouldn't go and use it yet because she was still working out how to use it. And I said, "Oh gosh, Mum, you said you weren't going to take it out yet and go anywhere on any trips." And she said, "I'm a mile from home in the campsite." Do you remember that? And you would park it in the campsite. And wasn't there a couple there who helped you learn all about how to use Blossom?
The, the couple who ran the campsite, they taught me everything I needed to know about having a camper van. You know,
Brilliant.
there were two batteries and the water and the electricity, and they were wonderful, really helpful. And also being so near home, every time I forgot something, I could nip back home. So it was lovely. It was lovely. It was very strange to have this freedom. I didn't have to be anywhere for anybody, and that was huge. Really. So off
And,
my way.
and so off you went. And then you published Blossom and Me.
Mm.
And then so a lot of people would say, okay, you've written your book, a lot of people write one book and that's it. What made you then think about doing the second one when you were in your 80s?
I think cut this out. I want to. Am I allowed to mention about the family stuff?
You can mention about the family stuff, but I think part of the reason also was because COVID hit and you wanted something to do, didn't you?
I did, but then I also wanted. I came from a very dysfunctional, abusive family, and I wanted that written down. I wanted that written down before I left, before I died, and that was important for me to do that. Actually, it was very important for me to do that. I felt I owed it to every woman in our family
Oh, Mum.
to have it recorded, and I did. It was hard. It was very, very hard at times. And I remember my daughter next door called Kate. she often said to me, Mum, you can't do this anymore. You just got to stop. It's upsetting you too much. And I thought, no, I know I've got to carry on. And also, I had a ghostwriter who was helping me at the time. And she said, well, normally, of course, in this sort of situation, you can go out and have a cup of coffee or chat to a friend. But because it was COVID, I couldn't do either of those things. So I used to walk down the lane and recover and then come back again and carry on.
You did, Mum. I carried on. That should be your epitaph. Mum is also an amazing artist, and I'm positioned myself so you can see some of her paintings in the background here. Mum has had an art show more than once. And then when Blossom came out, didn't you have a book signing and they wrote an article about you in the Oxford, in one of the Oxford newspapers, didn't
They
they?
did. I think if I'd been younger, I could have promoted it better. I could have promoted it. I didn't promote it really. I could have put myself out there much more, local women's groups in locally and talked about it. And I didn't. So it didn't have a huge following really, but I just love doing it,
And
you
I
know.
think that's what matters. It's the loving of the doing it. And so that brings me to the third memoir that you've been doing through Memorite. How did you find memo write? Or was it just were you Googling memoir writing? Like what how did that all kick off? Because you had already got your account set up and answering questions with them before I even realized you'd started it.
That's true. I saw it advertised somewhere, maybe Facebook.
Probably Facebook, Mom. How many times have I said stop looking at Facebook ads?
But it's true. Then when I clicked on it, there were people who had done it saying how, at my age, or a little bit younger maybe, saying how pleased they were they'd done it. And it was like seeing themselves for the first time, getting to know themselves for the first time. And I thought that sounds quite interesting. And I think the fact that the questions were pre-decided for me, it was very easy to follow. There were 50 questions and quite profound, some of the questions. I remember one of them particularly was, um, did I enjoy playing with, what did I do? What did I do with my children when they were younger? And that kept me awake at night because I didn't do anything with you.
Oh,
And,
Mum.
and I remember thinking about that. Not like parents do now. They spend a lot of time with their children. And when I was a little girl, it was used to be seen and not heard. And it was a bit like that with you girls, really. We didn't do a lot with you. So they're very thought provoking, some of the questions, but I've enjoyed it.
And quite thought-provoking for me, like even right now, hearing you say that, I feel quite emotional
Yes,
hearing you say that. So the journey, just listening to some of the stories you shared about, and then sort of looking at how you would perhaps do things differently based on,
absolutely. I'm
yeah.
I'm having a second chance with my grandchildren, I feel, in some ways. I am. Um, yes, I definitely am. But it was very profound. Some of the questions, even, what was my home like when I was a little girl? And who were the most profound people in my life when I was younger? That was very thought provoking.
I know that because you said to me, well, who I can't think of anybody that's been a profound person. Did you ever get the answer to that? I'm assuming that you did.
I did. I put down my two godmothers who were profoundly wonderful. And I also put down my therapist,
Oh,
Joanna.
Joanna. Yes, Joanna.
I thought after a while, well, why don't I phone her? So I phoned her one Sunday morning and I said, hi, Joanna, it's Jean Swales here. Do you remember me? Oh, of course I do, she said. We had a lovely chat. She told me she had a heart attack and her husband was both in their 70s and she was still teaching at the college. And I said, well, I'm in nearly 90, and now 94 nearly. She said, Jean, that's ridiculous. You sound 52. She's my best friend, my best therapist ever. But it was lovely because I mentioned her in my book that I went on to talk to her. I enjoyed that.
Also, there were things that you started going back through boxes and suitcases, didn't you? Didn't you? Oh, you found this. Didn't you find this from when you turned 21?
Oh no, oh, that's quite true.
You did, yeah. And there's writing on the back of all the people who must have been at your 21st birthday party.
The all the people who came to my party at 21,
Yes.
too, they all signed that key.
And they all signed the key because their names are on the back still. And you also found your ration book, didn't you, from World War
I
II?
think
Yes, I did. You
that's
did.
right. It was amazing looking back about the war. Of course, we were evacuated. I went to 9 schools, um, some of them boarding schools when we were quite young, my sister and I, because of the war. Um, yes, that's true.
Has it been, has doing this one with Memorite, has it been, I know you always say that Writing Blossom, the first one, was your most favorite memoir, but this last one that you've done, has this been a sort of a lighter touch? Because I think the second one was quite hard, wasn't it, with the family stuff and everything?
Very hard.
And this one has, it feels like it's been a bit lighter and a bit more fun.
But on the other hand, with the second one, I did a lot of traveling, looking at the grandmothers, and then finding the granddaughters to interview.
That was the first one, right? With the first one, that's what you did. The second one that was more about the family.
Oh, that's true. That was
Yes,
heavy.
that was heavy, wasn't it, that one?
Yes.
But would you say this one, your third one, has been sort of lighter?
Oh, much better. Yes,
Or would you still say Blossom and Me was your favorite?
it was. It was such an adventure. And it was such, I love meeting people. I love meeting new people. And I was meeting people of my own similar age.
Yeah.
Um, and I think what struck me more than anything was the poverty that so many people have been through, lived through at my age, which I hadn't really come across before. Um,
Yes.
they
Quite
were
profound.
they were very stoic ladies because they were all in the war. Um, but it was fascinating talking to them.
Well, it's fascinating talking to you like this.
Oh,
Um,
bless.
so for people who are watching, who are thinking about writing or wondering about maybe doing a spiritual memoir, or who've got family members who are elderly perhaps and are thinking about helping them, is there anything that you would share? Like what have been the benefits for you as a writer? And what would you share as, as we finish up here as some wisdom for other people?
I think just do it. That's what I think. You
Yeah.
do realize how much you're going to get out of it and how much you're going to enjoy it until you do it. And it might seem a bit daunting. You might think, oh, I can't do that, I can't do that. But just start. And then it rolls. And then it just rolls, really.
Beautiful, Mum. I think
Oh,
that's all we need. I think that's all we need.
okay.
Is there
Thank you.
anything else, or do you feel like you're complete?
Yes, I do. It's been lovely doing it. I've enjoyed this.
I've enjoyed
It's
it
made me
too.
remember. It's made me remember a lot of enjoyable things, times, really. Thank you.
So should we go and have a cup of tea and a sandwich and some lunch together now?
Now, that sounds great.